Also listen via our website www.mainlandfm.com, and also our Radio Garden. You can as well listen via Radio Garden. Permit me to quickly do this short break so that we can bring Said Fawad on board this beautiful morning to go through
unveiling the stories that need to be told. The Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion that cooled 0.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Said Fawad with us via the phone. Happy Friday to you.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you too.
Why? Oh, if money no
I'll
day.
just go and
It's just like the normal day, if money no day. For the fact that there is still life. Yeah, you always say that when there is life, there is hope now.
as
Said.
the president of the country.
I took your name to the bank.
That's fine.
All right, you're welcome, Fawad, once again to Trending
Thank you,
Papers.
Fawad.
Our dailies this morning. We are giving updates on inflation, as we always get on a monthly basis, reporting that inflation surges above 30% in Abuja and 10 states. Now, according to the month of April, that's last month, 2025, and it was revealing a slight easing in Nigeria year, marking a decline from 24.23% recorded in March 2025 and a sharp reduction from 33.86% in April 2025, down from 3.90% in March. And this month, and despite this slight easing in Nigeria's overall inflation rates in April, that's last year, persistent price pressures in several parts of the country. According to the latest CPI report, in April, inflation in specific states remained very, very alarmingly high, according to the report, saying that even urban inflation, which reflects prices change 9% in April, that's last month, still signaling that many urban households continue to grapple with rising living costs. And the Punch stated several of the 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory. We have Enugu, Kebbi, Niger, Benue, Ekiti, Nasarawa, Zamfara, Delta, Gombe, and Sokoto. And even most of the escalation is due to insecurity, especially in some parts of the states that have been mentioned. But reacting to this development, Fawad, so you can give your perspective as well, the national president of the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, Dr. Femi, to be precise, Egbesola, said that despite the so even with the slight, easing in the inflation that, and then input costs are still high, consumer purchasing power remains weak, and the decline in inflation has not been felt. He said that according to him, that the American qualified April's 23.71% inflation rate as 2025 meant that inflation was not worsening, that it ruled out any celebration rather than urging more focus on workable inflation reduction policies. And we also have several, school of thoughts and several experts that have been also reacting to this as well, that the projection for this year, it's 15%, according to, though it's higher than what the administration is projecting for the year 2025. Forward on inflation, first of all.
Well, the dropped marginally, even though in some states there was a record of slight increase in some of the states, but generally the assumption is that it dropped by about 0.3% or something. What I'm saying, marginal or not marginal decrease or increase in inflation means states are rebasing the economy or not rebasing the economic figures. Some of us are looking at the real thing, the reality of Nigeria, that their lives got in better. The reality speaks for itself. Ask an average Nigerian what their situation is connected to government, who are private government contractors, or what something becomes consistent with 70%, you have a right to this time. And the indices are there, the reasons are clear, are brought on told hardship. and continue to bring untold hardship, it has become extremely difficult for them to keep their business running. Small business organizations, small-scale business organizations are also lamenting. Individuals are required for 4% by 2027. So the facts are there. The only thing is that, look, opinions will differ, but the fact is always the fact. The fact, as we speak today, with all sense of responsibility, is that, look, a lot of Nigerians have found themselves more driven into or below the poverty line. Need to rethink their policies. We said it almost a year ago, so that more than suffering an impoverishment for the people. But this, in the last 2 years, we have never...
Definitely, we definitely hope for... You talked about policies. You've landed in the recent years to, include the removal of fuel subsidy,
which you recommended,
and energy cost and recurring food supply disruption. Do you think that the recommendations are...
No. The recommendations are, you see, they are talking about, cost, all the policies of the government we've been talking about, partly implemented through, quote and unquote, the period of pain and anguish before the so-called hope is going to eventually come. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And the funny thing, a lot of the policies that these guys... So I'm not going to sit here to begin to blame the World Bank. We have leaders. We vote for people in different political parties. And so suddenly we now have got people in government who have decided that they will continue to take these prescriptions without looking at our local peculiarity.
All right. That very story we have across board from The Punch. We have that on page 19 in the Punch newspaper. Forward quickly, let's talk about the reseating of UTME and the education sector area that affected over 300,000 candidates who sat for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. And while he was speaking over what he described as the disappointing setback in the exercise that had until, the glitch being considered one of the most successful in recent years. So he appealed to candidates and those that are affected by the error of the system to accept, there is explanation as the truth of the matter without, embellishment, and apologizing, taking full responsibility, and not just in words. He had to even, he wept and all of that. Well, that has been greeted with several reactions and all that. Recall that the glitch affected according to registrars, it affected 157 examination centers across Lagos and the Southeast, affecting 206,610 candidates across 65 centers in Lagos State and 173,387 candidates in 92 centers across Southeast states. You get more breakdown to that in the Punch newspaper. But with the promise of the registrar saying that they're going to be okay, they're going to be receipting for those that are the hero of planning, that the exam or demanding, they are demanding postponement of the exam because it's clashing with preparation of WAEC and preparation of WAEC. His school is in Oyo State, and then he has to travel he's sent from Oyo back to Lagos and then back again. They should we have two syllabus for each exam for WAEC, and then they have to read the UTME, the receipt of UTME as it was slated to today and 18th of convenient for them, especially for those that don't have their centers where they are at in the first sitting.
But this is a different situation entirely. Through secondary school, they want to push them into university. Because again, this situation paints a picture of some of these children who are still in secondary school, who are writing WAEC. They are just writing their WAEC, but they've gone ahead to write down. Because if you know in the past, for us, I don't know whether things have changed. The first thing is you first sort of head and write down. After that time, your result is out. But these days, you have children who have not even written the WAEC, who are just about to write WAEC. Their parents have told them to go and write down. You understand? In those days, first WAEC, you first go ahead and write your WAEC. So before NECO eventually came, there was no NECO in our own time. And then by everything together, children are still in secondary school in Oyo, they are in Lagos writing down, and I don't know. So one of the reports I got, it was said that JAM also got a clearance from WAEC, because WAEC has clearance from WAEC to say, look, those 3 days are free for JAMB to really take advantage that some of the children have gone through, how it may be difficult for them to really put themselves together to receive the exams. But where cutoff marks to be decided, universities will also have to tidy up the admission program. The idea of different syllabus, I don't know. Am I right? But again,
Teacher Association of Nigeria had actually urged the parents to cooperate with the examination body. So we'll see how it goes. That very story you get in the Punch newspaper, Lagos State, with the upcoming local government election in June. Guidance over the emergence of three factions, not one, not two, three factions within the Labour Party ahead of the July 12 local government election in the state. So this method of choosing candidates. But for the Labour Party, the Lagos State, Independent Electoral Commission had to write INEC saying that, there's an emergence of three factions within the Labour Party that are going ahead in Ikeja yesterday. The last year chairman, Justice Bola Okokiolu, retired, revealed that the commission had received invitations from three separate Labour Party groups to monitor their primaries, promoting the agency to seek clarification from INEC. And so he's saying that we have three factions with difference, not participate in any primary, and this that had intimated each faction. But we have three factions in the Labour Party ahead of their primaries. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. From INEC, we will not get anything because even INEC is confused about what to do now. When we were talking about that Supreme Court judgment, I knew exactly what I was saying. That for me, the judgment in itself appears to set up some of these political parties for an unending crisis. But the problem is there. They can't even resolve it, but they are still, when you say you are just managing, but the Labour Party, unfortunately, has gotten to a point where you now have three factions. And that's what you're seeing with the Lagos State local government election. The three factions are written to last year to come and monitor the three different parties. Which faction is recognized by INEC? So we work with that. INEC has not even responded. But I'm sure they're also confused. So, and look, these are things that we just local government election. That one, there's a bigger stake. At that time, we're talking about state assembly election. Unfortunately, the courts have now told the party that you can fight as you like. So far, you cannot resolve your issue. No court has jurisdiction. Is that look, when parties cannot resolve their leadership crisis, the court will let them to resolve it by eventually. No court can intervene. No court have any jurisdiction. So where does that put parties who cannot resolve their issue? They should continue to fight. No. Like one of my friends was jokingly telling me that even marital crisis, they are going to court have a right to say no. This is how you go on the matter. So that's why I've already predicted it. Most of these parties will remain in this crisis till 2027 and after 2027. It's unfortunate when we find ourselves. I thought the booby traps have been set. The landmines are already there for us to see that the process may eventually end up to be a failed process, quote and unquote. Well, no candidates already. We are not paying attention. It's unfortunate.
Is it out of place for to have conflicts like this before? You're saying that it's a signal for us to think deep about the competency and what those people have in store for us. But is it out of place to have conflict and
disagreement if there are internal crises within a political party? Mostly it's always about who is the leader of the party, or maybe your party constitution, or you had a meeting. There are always considerations. So if the parties are not able to resolve their issue, who then resolves is God that will come and save Labour Party. Okay, it's fine. That's a good option anyway. It's a very reasonable one. Wait for God.
So what do you envisage on the
Labour Party? And they should present three candidates now. They should present three candidates. Not about presenting anything. At the end of the day, whoever is the candidate on the platform of the
That very story is in the Punch newspaper as well. Page 3 captures that this morning. Stay with the Punch newspaper to see what's going on, especially in the front appearance this morning. While you can also drop your comments, you can also drop your reservation right there at the comment section on Facebook and YouTube and Mainland 98.3 FM. You can on fm.com. So your location is not definitely an excuse. You can at Pope's inauguration. Tinubu will depart Abuja for Rome, the capital of Italy, on Saturday, that's tomorrow, 17th of May. Would attend the solemn mass marking the beginning of the pontificate of Mr. Bayo Onanuga, that's the special advisor of information. Cardinal Pietro Pope Leo XIV underscored the need for President Tinubu's physical presence conflicts, and according to the pontiff, he further reiterated apostolic nunciature. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs will be going along with him, Archbishop Ignatius K. Gama of Abuja and Alfred Martins of Lagos. The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto.
The new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, the best will reign as Pope, bring more peace and more progress world leader. I think it's going to happen on Saturday when the Pope will be officially worldwide. So he's the leader of a very big church, the Catholic Church.
Right.
And a very beautiful entourage. I've seen strong Catholic members, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Adam Yang. So it's a very beautiful one.
May 20.
On the 12th, that's Tuesday.
Yeah. Hello? Definitely get back to Fuad and that. Guess the network had to do it. Newspaper talking about the trip of the president to tomorrow to Italy.
Yes.
Okay.
It was the network.
Yeah,
so, like I was just saying that, look, the press release from Mr. Bayo Onanuga on this trip of the president shows that we'll be back on Tuesday. It was clear. For most times, but this was quite specific that the president will be back on Tuesday. So that just got my attention. As against other press releases when it comes to the work visit of the president to France. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. You understand?
Yeah, no, I get you. That there are specifics compared to it's coming back May 28, 20.
But they keep waiting until when they are sure the president will return. I'm just saying, if it's clear, he'll be back on Tuesday.
What meaning are you reading to it? What?
No meaning. He's left.
7. Caught the attention of the story as well, and for more details you also get the of Nigeria saying that president after Obasanjo to blame for that from Kogi East Senatorial District led by former Kogi State Deputy Governor Simon Atiku end of Boko Haram's activities when the group first emerged during their administration was on his Facebook page from the meeting said that Boko Haram first appeared in Yobe State in 2002, prompting Obasanjo to consult him on how to respond. Let me quote him. You remember when the Boko Haram state and I said, Mr. President, let's call the service chiefs and give them a deadline. If they can't put it down, then they should put down their uniform and go away. We will get some people, some other people. And he called the service chiefs. I was there and gave them marching orders. And within a few weeks, they put down the insurgency in of successive leaders afterwards, after the administration of Fuad. Let me know, Fuad, what do you think?
Well, I think what he's trying to say is you're able to see happen in Yobe State when they go for the match. And that look of us. What was the opinion? Let's call the service chief and give them the magic. Rather than saying we just call the service chief to say deal with it. But he said he told the president.
Yeah, so expecting more like what?
Maybe there was something more intriguing, more, this idea of calling the service chief. This president,
maybe he did more behind the scenes, work.
What behind the scenes? He said the under Obasanjo was more effective. You understand?
Right.
But look, security, that's a fact. That's a statement of fact. Even though there were other security concerns, Obasanjo had a very quote-unquote brutal way of dealing with trouble. We cannot forget assholes on troublemakers in that region that also saw people who were not even part of the crisis until Yar'Adua, for example, came into power. For example, the problem in the Niger Delta, it remains, put everything into proper perspective. You understand? But again, if we are going to blame he produced them, there would always be question about whether it was a man that was struggling with his health. There was no way Obasanjo did not know. Did we forget on the podium? Yar'Adua, are you dead? Umoru, are you dead? You knew a man that had serious medical challenge, and yet you still supported him. And then eventually you brought in Jonathan. That a lot of us felt, but again, the fact is, this is where we are now. What do we do? Yes, we cannot wait, because when it happened under us, we're able to deal with it. But the other of the things we'll be hearing from politicians about what we should have done or what we should not do, into general, for 8 years who could not deal with the problem. 2 years down the line, this president is still struggling to deal with the problem, even though the NSA is talking about how do we solve the problem. That's the main issue for me, really. It's not anybody saying that we should call the service issue. There are bigger. Look, for example, Lɪධᴇ, American man on for Osama bin Laden.
Right.
Very interesting. I think it's a 3-part series. You know, for example, it started with the former George Bush Jr., the president, who was at a school, a primary school, reading to children when the first airplane struck the World Trade Center. And in a few days, they already identified the people who did it, how they went after them consistently. Community. This kind of warfare deals more with intelligence gathering. You talk about the numbers. I was reading the papers now, some former military generals say we need about 1 million troops. Yes, we need more troops. But the intelligence community has a lot of work to deal with what we are dealing with now. And how eventually they were able to fish out Bin Laden. These are things we should be seeing at this time, not all this political talk, and then you have some people trying to blame governors, deflecting on issues because of political interest. We're just wasting time. We're not a serious people.
All right.
So at the end of the day, we have this from your life.
All right, Fᴜʟ, thank you for that. That's also in the Punch newspaper. Statement credited to Atiku as well. That the Guardian also captures 2027 election, APC, PDP, Labour Party. Remaining headline from the front page of the Punch, we have service chiefs tour military bases after terror attacks. Page 3 captures that. APC fumes as Atiku names parties in anti-Tinubu coalition. That's also been captured again. Page 7 captures that from headline, National Assembly divided as compulsory voting bill advances. Talking about the compulsory importance of voting. You know, yesterday.
How do you force people to vote? How do you force people to vote?
It has passed second reading.
Yeah, my never trying to come up with this bill. Why do you have to force people to vote?
According to those leading the debates on the general principles of the bill on Thursday, they're arguing that the heart of democracy lies in citizens' participation, and that democracy thrives when people are actively involved in choosing their leaders.
They go out to vote because they think the people who have put themselves up for election, they have to also solve. Where is the difference of democracy that we will encourage anybody to continue to vote? Yes, you have the right to stay away because of the level of disappointment consistently that they've been getting. From 1999 till date, for example, let's limit ourselves to that. What has been the real value that the people can say they've got it on the so-called democracy that I vote? I will go there and thumbprint to all the political parties and mess up the whole thing. Because again, at the end of the day, these guys are there. They promise to go solve the people's problem. They eventually become the problem that the people have to solve. See the way they are jumping from one political party tomorrow, I find you in APC. From PDP, you have political class. That may be the reason why there's voter party in every election.
That's on page 10 in the Punch newspaper. And just wrapping things up with the Guardian newspaper, the big story here, just highlighting what it has to say. Guardian did a comprehensive report on public varsities and students in dire straits over blackouts and failed facilities that for decades the Nigerian university system has unsuccessfully battled with fundamental challenges that inhibit its potential, ranging from hostel accommodation and erratic power supply, are jointly turning what should be a transformative academic journey for students into a fight for survival. Quite a lengthy one and a comprehensive report.
Yes, it was a special report on the state of public university by the Guardian. A fantastic report. I had to read through the entire thing. And it tells you the story. Go there and see the decay. No light, no any infrastructure decay. No, you see, and they have a way of taking care of themselves. For those politicians who cannot send their children, like by Sarkozy's posted recently on the Facebook, it seems that they've left the people to their fate. They abandon us.
Right. facilities.
In most universities now is blackout, no light. How do students study when there's no light? No power supply.
All right.
Does anybody care?
Focus on Mela 98.3 FM. Thank you very much, Fuad, for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So, hear your thoughts and your reservation on the focus for this morning. Good morning once again.